Fine. I knew it.
Okay, folks, it's 6 o'clock and maybe I should bring up my agenda, right? That would be a good thing to do. But it's 6 o'clock and I'm calling the regularly scheduled meeting of the Common Council to order. Today is Tuesday, April 8th, 2025, and Colette or maybe Dave will start with roll call. I don't know who's going to be in charge back there.
I'll take roll call. Barbara Doss,
Here.
Bob Gates,
Here.
Kathy Kopp,
Here.
Tom Knoll,
Here.
Lynn Parrott,
Here.
Todd Casper, and Ken Killian is excused.
Okay, the first item on our agenda is consideration of the consent agenda. The following items may be approved on a single motion and vote due to their routine nature or previous discussion. Please indicate if you want separate discussion and action. We have the council minutes from March 25th, the regular meeting. We have payment of bills. We have the financial report for March. We have appointments to boards and commissions, and tonight I'm appointing Jason Arts and Amy Seabooth Wilson to the library board. Licenses in your packet, 1- and 2-year operator licenses to serve and sell alcohol. A request to extend licensed premises of Seven Hills North at 92 East Main Street to include the area in front of the business to Main Street, including the public sidewalk as defined in the sidewalk cafe permit and distinguished by stanchions. Same thing, request to extend the licensed premises at Bistro 7 at 45 North 2nd Street to include the area in front of the business to 2nd Street, including the public sidewalk, again, as defined in our sidewalk cafe permit and distinguished by stanchions. A bike permit. This is a time change from the Platteville Public Library for their fall community bike ride. The time is noon to 2 o'clock. Previously had been stated 11 to 1 o'clock. The date is September 20th, a Saturday, with a rain date a week later on September 27th, and the location is Mountain View Park. And I would remind folks that the council organizational meeting is a week from tonight at 5 p.m. And we have a proclamation for National Library Week that I will read. Whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, and inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can explore new ideas and be drawn to new possibilities. Whereas libraries serve as vibrant community hubs connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources while fostering civic engagement, critical thinking, and lifelong learning. Whereas libraries provide free and equitable access to books, digital tools, and innovative programming, ensuring that all individuals, regardless of background, have the support they need to learn, connect, and thrive. Whereas libraries partner with schools, businesses, and organizations, connecting the dots to maximize resources, increase efficiency, and expand access to essential services, strengthening the entire community. Whereas libraries empower job seekers, entrepreneurs, and lifelong learners by providing access to resources, training, and opportunities that support growth and economic success. Whereas libraries nurture young minds through story times, STEM programs, and literacy initiatives, fostering curiosity and a love of learning that lasts a lifetime. Whereas libraries protect the right to read, think, and explore without censorship, standing as champions of intellectual freedom and free expression. Whereas dedicated librarians and library workers provide welcoming spaces that inspire discovery, collaboration, and creativity for all. Whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers across the country are joining together to celebrate National Library Week. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Barb Dawes, on behalf of the council, proclaim this week, April 6 to 12, 2025, as National Library Week. During this week, we encourage all residents to visit our library, explore its resources, and celebrate the ways that the library draws us together as a community. That is the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion?
I'll
or-
move to approve the consent agenda as printed.
Just a minute, Kathy. I think
Just
Bob.
had one comment. Do we need to
I'll amend the minutes to reflect that Dick Davies is on the museum board rather than the library board.
That would probably be true. I appointed Dick Davies to the museum board, and the minutes say that he was appointed to the library board. So we would make that correction to the minutes. Then I would take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with that noted change.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with the one change in the minutes of last meeting. Colette will vote.
Dawes,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Cop,
Yes.
Noel,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, a couple of, now we're at citizens' comments, observations, and petitions, if any. I'm going to start tonight with acknowledgement that our council alderperson Ken Killian is taking kind of a leave of absence for about the next month until May sometime to deal with some personal issues. So we wish him well as he continues down his road. So that for Ken. The second thing I would like to do is give kudos to all of those city employees that were involved in two major activities today. Number one, at the airport, I don't know much about, but we had a little plane crash. And Nicola, do you have anything you'd like to say about that?
Well, just to say that a small single-person aircraft failed to land on the runway this afternoon and crashed into a field within the city airport boundaries. The pilot was quickly attended to by emergency medical services and transported to a nearby hospital. And the FAA will conduct an investigation, which is standard procedure for any incident at an airport. We're very grateful to Ryzen Airport Manager and Apex for their support as well as all of the personnel, emergency services and so on that assisted at the scene.
Okay, and the plane carried only the pilot.
Correct.
All right. Okay. So that would be one. The second major activity today that people have been involved in is a major water break on Pine Street. And Howard?
Yes, mid-afternoon, there was a water main break on Pine Street near 4th Street. The water main break is still being attended to at this time. I want to thank the police department, fire department for coming to this exercise right after the other one, and all of our water, sewer, and streets workers who were attending that water main break. A section of the water main literally broke out. Most of the time it's usually a crack, but this actually broke out and separated, causing much more water to leave the water main. They're going to cut out and replace about an 8-foot section of pipe that was bad. And so in the next day, we'll be looking to see how much the street may have been undermined, and we'll end up replacing whatever is being undermined. So, thank you.
So yeah, they were carrying the pipe to the big hole when I was just down there. So thanks to all. I guess the other thing I should mention is, Ryan, I understand that the fire department had a little exercise too, perhaps. You always have unplanned exercises, but this was a planned burn that became an unplanned exercise for you. Is that correct? Grass fire season. So folks, if you hear that it might rain, I mean, while we don't want the amount of rain they've had in Kentucky and Tennessee and South, we could use a little to green up the space and cut down on these fires. So that would be the second thing I would talk about. The third thing, or fourth perhaps, congratulations, Lynn, on your reelection. And we look forward to seating you again next week at our organizational meeting on the 15th. And we would bid Todd adieu as he chose not to run. And next week at our organizational meeting, we'll welcome a newly elected council member, Tony McFall. So that will all happen next week, a week from tonight at 5 o'clock in these chambers. So that takes care of those. The last announcement I would make, well, I won't make that announcement. I'll let Ryan make that announcement. In the meantime, Tom, if you had something you wanted to say.
Yes, I would like to, would like to extend my appreciation and thank you to all those who have served on city committees, commissions, boards in the past, or those presently serving. You are an integral part of local government. Your commitment to the city, along with your knowledge, dedication, and time are essential for the city council to govern this community. For many of us, we presently have questions concerning our state and federal governments. We are many times getting our information through social, public, and private media, whether that be print media, podcasts, or other electronic means. Many times this information is biased in one way or another. We personally have no direct means to meet with our representatives who we elected unless we go to Madison, Washington, D.C., or they come back here and meet with us at a town hall meeting. Your city government is an exception to this situation. They are accessible and they will gladly meet and talk with you. You are of the utmost importance for their leadership. City government encourages individuals to understand what local government is doing so that it is be able to the best have the interest of all, just not a few. Please remember these parting words. What government is, it is of the people, for the people, and by the people. And please remember the last, it's by the people.
You. Clint, it looked like you were,
Just wanted to make a comment. Did receive a message from Alderperson Casper. He regrets to inform that he is being held at work late tonight. He extends a thank you to his fellow council members, to his constituents, and to staff for the support, and apologizes for missing this evening's final meeting.
thank you. Any other department heads? Perhaps Ryan?
Sure. So next week will be a busy week for the fire department. So we'll start off Sunday with our annual pancake breakfast fundraiser from 7 to 12:30 p.m. at the high school again. So if you feel like not cooking breakfast that morning, come out and let us do it for you. And then followed up on the 16th at 12:15 p.m., we will do the groundbreaking for the new fire facility at the location on 100 West Adams Street, there where the new facility will be built. So everyone's encouraged to join us for that as well too.
Where's the best parking for that?
Probably Court Street area, Lewis Street side, kind of those areas would probably be the best parking.
Great. Just a minute. Cody, do you have something you want to announce?
So April 10th is in 2 days, and it is the last day to purchase pasties. So to preface this, the pasties are on sale by the Friends of the Museum, and it is a fundraiser that they put on every spring and fall. So just a reminder, if you haven't ordered your pasties yet, you can order those online by going to mining.jameson.museum, and you'll get a pop-up right away. You just click on that pop-up and order the pasties. And if you do, thank you very much on behalf of the Friends and on behalf of the museum.
Madam President, I do have one more. I apologize. Behalf of the library, we do have Loud at the Library, which is also be on Saturday, April 12th starting at 6 p.m. Tickets are available now at a discount and $40 up front, $50 at the door. Would love to see everybody there, as that is the library's main fundraiser event that they put on for the year. Thank you.
Lynn?
Actually, that's what I was gonna say.
Sorry, I stole your thunder.
So, but I was just gonna say it because, I have been invited to be their MC, so you guys want to come out and just be totally entertained, while enjoying the library's festivities and, spreading out my birthday, which is on the 10th, so go buy pasties. Yeah, that's all I was gonna say.
Apologies.
That's all you
Okay,
can
that's
say.
okay. You didn't-
And Cody, who got the best score this weekend on the golf at the museum?
I actually don't know the answer to that, but what Barb is talking about is this last weekend on the 5th, we at the museum were trying out a new fundraiser, which is also an educational opportunity. So it is mini golf in the museum, and it was safe. We had plastic clubs, we had plastic balls, and we had barriers all around the museum. But the best part of it, in my view, was that we had a bunch of hands-on activities that could help people have scores reducted at the end. So it was a way to get people in the museum. It was a way for them to see the museum as a fun place. And it was a way for them to learn about the history of our area. So I do think it was actually a younger child who was just really gifted. But yes, everyone had a great time. We had quite a few people there, and they were really excited. And I heard a lot that we would love to see this happen again next year. So.
Well, I would concur. It was probably the younger childs or children that did better. I know my grandson beat me by quite a bit. So,
I have one thing.
well, okay.
One thing real quick. Does sound like the weekend's going to be fairly busy, but if you have an hour or two Saturday morning, there is a major cleanup of Katie's Garden going on starting at 8 o'clock. They do that every spring just prior to make sure that the garden is in beautiful shape before prom, because that's a major photo op for them. So if anybody wants to come down, starting at 8 o'clock.
All right, I think we've probably had enough of the announcements, so I think we'll move along, unless I missed someone. Doug, did I miss anything? Not for you, huh? You didn't have any major announcement you wanted to make? Okay. Reports, we'll go on to the reports in our packet. The Parks, Forestry, and Recreation Committee minutes. Bob, anything to add?
Nothing to add.
Okay, Museum Board, Tom, anything?
Nothing to add.
All right, Water and Sewer, Lynn and Tom.
Nothing to add.
Commission on Aging, Lynn and Kathy.
I just have an update that at our last meeting, they elected new officers, and the chair of the commission is Michael Walsh, who is our Main Street Director.
Okay. And Police and Fire Commission, Kathy.
The one thing I want to do is acknowledge that the department has published their annual report. Very thorough, well done, Doug. I would encourage everyone to take a look, and it is on the city's website.
Other reports in your packet were the Water and Sewer Financial Report for March, the Airport Financial Report for March, and Department Progress Reports. Any questions on any of these? Then we'll move into the action items on our agenda. The first of those is the carryover 2024 to 2025 budget items. This would be a budget amendment number 1.
Excuse me,
Nicola?
Barb.
Thank you. So each year we consider the budget items in the CIP fund and the general fund. And if there's a special project that needs to be completed or a project that didn't complete, we consider carrying over those funds to 2025, the following year. You can see there on the schedule, there is a list of the amounts being requested to be carried over. And in the green highlighted column is the amount of the request. There's some details about each project and the amount that was budgeted for the project and where the funding sources were coming from, how much has been expended, and the purpose and source information over to the right. The first section is for the CIP fund, and the section below is for the general fund carryover requests. The numbers in red were updated since you last saw the schedule. There was an amount added for IT operating supplies for the renewal of the access point license, expanded to 3 years instead of just 1 year. And then also an adjustment to the amount being requested by the library for an IT-related project as well.
Okay, so do we have any questions? These would be carryovers from last budget to this budget, assuming that these will be then spent and then during this year.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
That's the assumption.
If not, then I take a motion.
I'll make a motion. I make a motion to approve the carryover of $670,803 in the CIP fund and $18,945 in the general fund per the attached schedules.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Bob and a second by Lee to approve these budget amendment number 1, carryovers from 2024 into the 2025 budget. We'll vote.
Doss,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Cop,
Yes.
Null,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, we'll move on to the next agenda action item, which is Resolution 25-01 to terminate tax increment finance district number 5. Nicola.
Thank you. Tax incremental financing districts are created to capture property taxes from all jurisdictions on new value that's generated through development of those parcels in the district. The state statutes allow a municipality to collect those tax increments until the net project cost has been fully recovered or until 20 years after the creation date. For TIF 5, which was created in 2005, it was amended in 2013 to allow tax increment to be shared with TIF 7, which was underperforming. And so since 2013, all of TIF 5's revenues that were in excess of expenditures have been donated to TIF 7. So those revenues are incorporated into TIF 7's projections and have been monitored to determine when TIF 7 itself is projected to meet all of its project costs, including with the revenue sharing, so that TIF 5 could then close. And we have met that time frame. And so now staff are recommending closure of TIF 5. In order for the TIF to terminate, the council must adopt a termination resolution, the language of which is provided by the Department of Revenue. And then a final audit will be conducted this year by October 31st. And because of the sharing of the TIF's revenues with TIF 7, there are no excess funds to be distributed. Sometimes when a TIF closes, there's excess fund balance in the TIF, and that gets allocated back to the taxing jurisdictions. But in this case, there is none. And if a TIF closes with a deficit fund balance, actually that has to be covered by the city alone and is not shared between the taxing jurisdictions. And so there is a risk to cities for operating TIF districts. When it was created, TIF 5 included 173 acres located in 2 parcels, which consisted of vacant and agricultural land. The 2000 base value was $29,500. As of December 31st of last year, the value has grown to $60,861,600. The TIF district itself, for those who may not know, is out where Menards and Walmart are located, and they were built subsequent to 2005. There's also housing over there as well as some other retail establishments. When the TIF closes, the value of that TIF, the $60,861,000, will be reflected in the tax base, which will benefit not only the city, but also the school district, Grant County, and the technical college. Closure of the TID will also allow the city a one-time increase in the levy limit. The calculated amount for the levy limit increase is estimated at about 3.15%. Another benefit of closing the TIF will be under the 12% rule. So in Wisconsin, municipalities are limited in their creation of TIFs to a value not to exceed 12% of total equalized value. And at the moment, the city exceeds that 12%. But with the closure of the TIF, it's expected to free up enough capacity under that rule to enable the creation of a new TID if it is desired. So that is a summary of the closure of TIF 5, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Questions?
I'm a little confused in the closure of the TID will allow the city a one-time increase. A one-time
Increase.
This adjustment is calculated by 50% of the TID's final increment. As using 2024 amounts, this levy limit increase is estimated. One-time increase, then what happens? I mean,
So the increase in the levy limit will be estimated at about 3%. And then that will stay at that new levy of what the state allows the levy to be assessed at. Now, the city has a debt adjustment that it applies on top of the levy limit. So although we talk about levy limits, in recent years, it has not been a factor in terms of the limit on the city's annual budget. But eventually, it's anticipated that the debt adjustment will be completely used up, and then the city would be limited in how much it can levy taxes by the state's levy limit. So closing a TIF allows a one-time adjustment to the levy limit, but not to the total value of new construction in that TIF. The adjustment to the limit is limited by the state, and so that attempts to explain that in that paragraph.
I think I get it.
It's a little complicated, but
Yeah.
but the good news is that there will be some benefit to the city. We'll be able to increase the approved amount of levy, which will mean it'll take a little longer to use up our debt service adjustment. So it gives us some additional financial flexibility for the coming years.
And it's this levy limit issue that has caused 15 of our municipal friends to run referenda now to try to get enough money for their budgets. So that was it's been very common now to see operating referenda for cities and for villages had not been so common in the past. It's common to see school referenda, but not common to see city referendum. And so we have been good fiscal managers and used our debt service and other things wisely so that we haven't run into that issue. I don't know that Platteville, the city, has ever had an operating referendum. I don't know that
Not,
we've
not
ever.
that I'm aware of, certainly.
We have never asked the taxpayers to pay more just to fund ongoing expenses. That's operating money. Yeah. Okay, motion. Do I hear any questions or a motion?
Make a motion. I move to approve Resolution 2501 to terminate tax incremental financing District Number 5.
Okay, we have a motion by Bob and a second by Kathy to approve Resolution 2501, terminating TIF 5. We'll vote.
Doss,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Null,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, next on, that's the end of the action items for tonight. We have two information and discussion items. First is award for comprehensive planning services. Joe.
Yes, thank you. So the city issued a request for proposals to find consultants to provide some assistance with 3 different planning services. The first one is strategic planning for the council. The purpose of the strategic planning is to affirm the city mission, values, and financial tenets, and to identify the common council's operational priorities, policy goals, and strategic objectives. It is intended that these items will be compiled and published into a council vision report. This report will be referenced in the annual strategic planning process to build capital improvement plans, operational budgets, and guide daily options. The second one is an update to our comprehensive plan. This is a statutory requirement. Our last plan was adopted in 2013, and we're supposed to have them updated every 10 years. So we're running a little behind on that effort. But this would meet all the statutory requirements that are required for comprehensive plans. And more specifically, it does include an neighborhood specific plan for the land on the east side of the city that we just acquired from the Clare family, 35 acres that we're looking to do some residential development and some of the surrounding properties. So that is something a little bit more unique this time around. And then the third part is an update to the Parks and Recreation Plan. And similarly, this would be, to update all the images, data, graphs, maps, develop a clear set of policies, goals, standards for the park system, green space, trails, recreational facilities, et cetera, for the next 5 years. And this would keep the city eligible for DNR grants for park improvements. So we did receive 7 proposals, excuse me, to complete the projects. The cost of the proposals ranged from $42,500 to a high of $122,000 to complete the 3 projects. So the city manager, Parks and Rec director, and myself reviewed the 7 proposals. We narrowed it down to 2 finalists, which were the Southwestern Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission and Becker Professional Services. Then we had Plan Commission member Sierra Miller join us. We brought the 2 finalists in for additional question, answer, interview type process to get some more information on the 2. And then afterwards, there was a consensus amongst us 4 to recommend selecting the proposal from the Southwestern Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission to complete the project for the $42,500 price. So that will be on next time for action. Any questions?
Questions? Joe, it has been in other projects, we've seen the proposal sheet in terms of who else was involved.
I can include that, yes.
That would be great. I see also that this is $7,500 more than was allocated.
Correct. So we have $35,000 I put in the CIP for the comp plan update. So we have got a couple of options. We can come up with additional funds through this year, but it is anticipated that the project would extend into the first part of 2026. So we're anticipating that we would allocate some additional funds in next year's budget to cover the difference.
Other questions? Do you have, I haven't looked thoroughly at the proposal, but is there a timeline in the proposal?
We did not have a specific timeline. We had some recommendations primarily to get the strategic planning completed prior to budget time in the fall. We'd like to have the neighborhood portion of the plan completed in the fall so we can do an RFP to find a developer for that project at the beginning of the
And how
following
about
year.
the parks plan? It's my understanding that we have problems now getting, being able to apply for DNR grants because our parks plan needs to be updated by a certain time.
No, actually, the DNR grants, we just have to have started the update. And so I was speaking to Angie, right, and she has said, yeah, this would comply. They're going to ask for minutes from this meeting talking, demonstrating that it is being planned for.
Is it possible to get a timeline?
Well, there is a rough timeline in the proposal. If you look through that, it's been, it'll have to be modified a little bit because we're a little bit behind schedule from what we anticipated, but there is a tentative timeline in their proposal.
Okay, and I saw that there were several resumes included. Who's the primary contact? Who is responsible?
Alyssa will be the prime contact on the comp plan update.
She'll be the primary contact for all of it, or
I think for the comp plan update and the park and rec plan update, and I think Troy will be the primary contact for the strategic planning.
any other questions? I know what we have currently a strategic plan that is a comprehensive plan for the city and for the town of Platteville. We're updating our plan. Do they know that we are now separating from them? Do we have confirmation from them that they know that they now don't have a plan?
Had multiple conversations with Nate, and to include sending him correspondence to let him know that we are engaging or intend to engage with Southwest Regional Planning Commission. And if they wanted to reach out to do their own type of projects, from a township perspective, I think for their grant eligibilities on trails, it's my understanding that they're part of the county plan, and that might cover them yet for eligibility for grant application. Doesn't necessarily help on the other components of planning where our borders and we hit the gray areas, but in grant compliance, it's been communicated to me that they would be eligible.
But you haven't ever received information back from them that says, yes, we know you're going on your own.
Nothing formal from the board other than Nate, their clerk and treasurer. I've had multiple correspondences that he knows that.
I think it's important that it needs to be documented, right?
I have a question.
Okay,
I was just looking over the budget and fee schedule and noticed that there's 0 total cost for the park and recreation plan, and just wondering how realistic is that? Like, is it, and why is it 0?
So they just didn't break it out separately because it'll be done at the same time in concurrence with the comprehensive plan update. There's such a strong overlap between the two plans as far as developing it. So they just wrapped the cost into the total budget.
Okay. Okay.
okay, other questions? Okay, then that will be on for action with the additional information, Joe, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, next on our agenda then is pool funding options for the Platteville Family Aquatic Center and proceeding to stage 2 of the aquatic engineer agreement. Clint, I think it's Clint.
We've kind of got a team effort here. I'll maybe set up context and then I'll pass the mic. So as you folks are well aware, we had a vote with the community last week, and important to remember it is an advisory referendum that was put forward. The advice that you got from a majority of the electric, over 75%, came back in favor of the question of if it's a good idea and do you support 6.9 million borrowed by the city. So with that, we wanted to give a chance for the council to discuss what that means to you folks. And I will defer to Director Lowe to further elaborate on the staff notes that are prepared.
Yes, thank you. Clint's right, and we had out of the yes vote, approximately 76%. I don't know any referendum that would get a 76%. So I was very excited to see that. Anyway, Director Marr presented the current borrowing summary for this 6.9 million. The current outstanding general obligation debt unaudited is 22,099,604, which is 43.1% of the state limit, 5% of the equalized value, and 61.5% of the Platteville financial policy limit, 3.5% of the equalized value. Planned and potential future borrowings for the next 2 years are as follows. 2025, the CIP GO debt budget 1.6 million. 2026 CIP GO debt projection 2.5, 1.5 to Public Works, 0.9 for a fire truck. 2026 pool GO debt estimate 7.0 million. This yields a total of 11.1 million in new GO debt in 2025, 2026. Adjusting for the principal payments of 2.6 in 25, 26, the adjusted GO debt is estimated at 30.6 mil. Based on the 2024 equalized value of 1.027 mil, this would be put the city debt at approximately 60% of the state limit and at approximately 85% of the city of Platteville financial policy limit. With the above estimates, the debt service tax rate is projected to increase from $1.95 in 2025 to $2.47 in 2027. Also in our staff note, the staff is seeking advice from council to go ahead with stage 2 of the JEO aquatic engineering. As you know, on February 11th, the city council authorized the city manager to enter a contract with JEO. Stage 2 is actually outlined very well in that agreement. Stage 2 includes, but it's not limited to, the surveys, both LiDAR, and topographical surveys, the schematic design development phase, the construction document phase, and bidding and permitting, including the aquatic engineer permitting and civil engineer permitting and the public bidding process. So staff seeks council approval, city manager to engage JEO for stage 2 as outlined in that agreement. I will note that Andy Pennekamp of JEO is here to answer any follow-up questions regarding that.
And before that, I have had someone ask to speak on the pool. And so Elizabeth Gates, I'll have you come to the microphone.
Right. Well, thank you for allowing me to speak. I won't take up much of your time because it sounds like you've had a really busy day today. I'm just encouraging you to authorize the city manager to contract with JEO for continued design and development and to produce a funding solution to include borrowing up to 6.9 million in GO notes. So last fall, when our PARS committee conducted our survey gauging community interest in the pool, 92% of respondents indicated that they felt it was important for our community to have an outdoor pool. And in that survey, we also asked about opinions if people would be willing to pay a tax increase. And at that time, 55% of respondents indicated they would support a tax increase to pay for the pool. 19% of people were opposed, and 26% of people were neutral. And in April 1st, when we had the referendum, a majority of those people that were previously neutral moved over to being in support of a tax increase. So 76% of voters supported a tax increase. I don't know what the definition of a mandate is, but this seems like a mandate. The community has spoken very clearly that they are in support of paying higher taxes to build a pool. So our committee now, we're calling ourselves Splash. We met with ICI last night to discuss fundraising for additional amenities for the pool. And thank you for your support of the pool and this initiative.
Now questions or comments?
I just have a question. When we move this forward, is it possible to do this in 2 separate motions? I just think I see the importance of making a statement that we're going to do the borrowing with the documentation of where we're at financially, which I think is, and then a second motion to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract to do phase two. To me, it's together, but it's kind of two separate things. So if that would be possible.
I think we can manage that, not to speak out of turn, but I think too, when we get to the actual borrowing component, we'll have to do an authorization to borrow and then the process that we'll have support on. But coming into the next meeting on this, we can break it into two things of engage with JEO for a contract and bring forward a funding solution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I do have a comment. I have to recognize Bob and his committee that did all the work to get this put together, because I have to compliment you, especially Bob, because you worked diligently on getting this done. And thank you very much.
Thank you, and you're welcome. I think I was a little more visible than a lot of people just here at our meetings. But outside of these meetings, it was absolutely a team effort, and it was a lot of work put forth by every member of the committee. And also, the committee would like to thank people in town who kind of jumped on board and displayed signs and put out flyers, and local businesses that puts flyers on their boards and their counters, and a lot of people in the committee joined the effort and were very supportive, and made good comments online, and so it was a Platteville-wide effort.
Yep. I think we need to be proud of the kind of, Tom, you talked about civic engagement. And I think this is an excellent example of civic engagement. Lots of people we probably don't even know. So I know I saw a lot of signs, including the one sign in Arthur, right?
Yeah, even Arthur, that was Farmers Unite for the pool. That's what she said. So
All right, this will then be forwarded, no more questions. This will be forwarded on then for action at our next meeting. And that ends the information and discussion items on our agenda. I think at this point in time, we're going to break for cake. I promised some people in the back row that they would get cake if they stayed till the end. So they're going to get cake. And then we will go into closed session. Let me take a motion for that while we're sitting, and then we'll have our cake and reconvene. But right now, let me take a motion to go to closed session at like 7:00 or whatever. Okay? Who?
I'll
Okay,
second.
all right. Colette will vote.
Doss,
Yes.
Gates,
yes.
Hop,
Yes.
Null,
Yes.
Garrett. Motion carries.